American Express adds new terms and conditions, Delta's adding premium lounges, and Hyatt might be losing a partner to Hilton. This and more in today's roundup. Big favor before we dive in is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, and if you know someone that might be affected by this, especially the American Express rule, then share this with them. It's surprisingly easy to screw up now and to leave money on the table. With that said, one of the biggest changes that we have seen in 2024 is more rules. Some people are calling this a family rule. I've been calling it a little brother rule because that makes more sense to me. The idea being that you want to let the younger siblings go first. We've seen this on a ton of cards, and now it's on the green card. Diving into the terms and conditions for the green card, you're not eligible for the welcome offer if you have or have had this card, which makes sense, the platinum card for Morgan Stanley, platinum card for Charles Schwab, and the gold card. If you have or have had the platinum or the gold card, you cannot get the bonus for the green. With the gold card, you see similar terms. Not eligible to receive a welcome offer if you have or have had this card, the PRG, the platinum Charles Schwab, or platinum Morgan Stanley. No mentions of the green, and if you go up a level, same thing. No mention of any cards below like the gold or the green, only the other platinum cards. Okay, so what does this mean? If your goal is to maximize the number of intro bonuses and probably aggregate points, then mathematically, you want to start at the bottom. If you start off level 3, then you can only get level 3. If you start off level 2, then you can get 2 and 3, but if you start off 1, you can get 1, 2, 3. Jack, Queen, and King. This is in pretty stark contrast to the old meta or old strategy where you'd want to start at the platinum. And to be fair, even with this, there are still exceptions. For example, if you do not want to get a lot of cards and you have a lot of flights coming up, then it might make sense to still get the platinum. Main rationale being that it gets you into lounges, and it's especially useful if you're in an airport that has a Centurion lounge or if you fly Delta pretty frequently with Delta Sky Clubs. If I was in that position, I probably would still get all 3, get the green, and then a month or 2 later, the gold, a month or 2 later, the platinum, but that's not everyone. Some people don't really care about bonuses, and they don't really want that many cards. I think there might also be an argument for the gold card, but you need to have pretty astronomical spend. Main reason being that you're giving up an intro bonus that's going to be pretty solid for increased multipliers, but there's a lot of other cards that have pretty similar multipliers. For example, the Capital One Saver 1 is not quite there, but it's a no annual fee card that offers 3% back for dining and also grocery stores. It's cash back, but you are earning Capital One miles, which do have similar value to American Express points. If you want to be a bit more aggressive, especially for lower spenders, you could also argue the City Custom Cash that offers 5% back on your top spend category and up to $500 in spend. Tons of options here, including restaurants and grocery stores. If you want to simplify it and think of it as 2 different options, number 1 is getting the gold card right now, number 2 is getting the green card, waiting 3 months, and then getting the gold card. The gold card might mathematically make more sense, but in order to account for the opportunity cost, by my math at least, you need to be spending about $13,333 in spend for the 4X categories. And that's just to break even. So if you're spending $14K on restaurants, then get the gold first. For normal people though, with normal spend, intro bonuses move the needle substantially more than multipliers, and you want to get the green bonus. One other argument that might be a bit tougher is going to be targeted offers. When you're not a customer of Amex, they end up using pretty lucrative offers as carrots to entice you to sign up. For example, $150K for the platinum and $90K for the gold. Once you become a customer, you can still get those offers, but it's a lot tougher. The good thing though is that a lot of people are getting targeted for these offers with tools like Card Match. We have a full blog post walking through this, so if you Google Card Match AskSebby, it should pop up. I'll also link it down below. Not guaranteed by any means, but given the current rules in place, I think this is still the best and most optimal strategy. So you pretty much want to get the Amex green, and then the gold card via Card Match, and the platinum card via Card Match as well. It means that you're getting 3 intro bonuses and the maximum for 2 of them. With that said, if you want to learn about American Express cards, or maybe another issuer entirely, and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive and that the cards make sense for you, but otherwise it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Out of curiosity, when you stay at hotels, do you check out or do you just leave? This is a question that's been trending on Twitter for the last few days, and I figured I'd share my experience. The idea being that you don't actually need to check out, and you can just leave. It also isn't a new idea, it's something that's been discussed a ton. Even though you don't technically need to do it, I would argue that it's the more respectful thing, and the one that might be even smarter. It's kind of like TSA bins when you're going through airport security. It depends on the machine, but for a lot of them, you have to bring the bin towards the end before it gets fed back to the other people. This allows you to double check that you didn't leave anything in there and also helps people get the bins faster. For hotels, it means that they can turn the room over faster, and if you have elite status and free late checkout, it means potentially that people can get off work earlier. If you have 4 p.m. late checkout and you're the only room that's still there and you're the one keeping them from going home, then I'd feel pretty bad. It might also be smarter financially. Again, a lot of us have elite status and end up booking stays through portals like Amex FHR. A lot of these come with dining credits and also experience credits. If you go to a place like Vegas, when you check in, they give you a list of places where the credits work and don't work. In practice, it should be pretty straightforward, but my experience hasn't really aligned with that. So let's say you have a breakfast credit and a dining credit, and there are some restaurants where that overlaps. Not sure what's going on with the computer system, but sometimes if I go to the breakfast place, it might actually pull my dining credit instead of the breakfast credit. We go to Vegas every quarter or so, and I'd say that it happens on about half of our stays where something is wrong. Given how we hopscotch our stays, it could easily be $50 or $60 per night in lost value. Even outside of Vegas, if you have Hyatt Globalist, Bonvoy Platinum, Hilton Diamonds, pretty common among our demo, then you might have a breakfast credit and you want to make sure that it was applied. I typically check out, but the last 2 times I didn't, it led to problems. Last fall, we stayed at Mirage and there was a line for checkout, so we figured we would leave and it'd be fine. A month later, when I was doing expenses, I noticed an extra charge for $500. I called American Express to do a chargeback. They said the policy is to contact the merchant first to figure out what's going on. Number 2, I ended up calling Mirage, but they said that since it was an FHR booking, I need to contact FHR. Number 3, I called FHR, who then called Mirage, and then figured out that it was a mistake by the front desk person. I did end up getting a full refund, but it's still $500. I think a normal person who doesn't really check their accounts as much could have easily lost out on $500. It was also more of a headache than just waiting in line because I would have been on my phone anyways. A bit different, but we also didn't check out during our Japan trip for one of the hotels where we stayed at the IHG Crown Plaza in Sapporo. I usually do check out, but it was prepaid, we were in a rush, and there wasn't a mini fridge, and we didn't have breakfast. So I figured that there were no charges and it'd be fine. Basically no credits, nothing used, so nothing to check. They probably ended up calling me 5 or 6 times around checkout, and I didn't even notice because it was on silent mode. The Google voice message that they left also threw me off, given how the AI interpreted it.
Hello, this is an example of don't use support. I'm talking about you. Please contact me.
In reality, it was the hotel calling, asking me to contact them because I didn't check out.
Hello, this is AN Grand Plaza Hotel Support. I am talking about you. Please contact me.
I think their rationale is that they don't want to barge into your room if you haven't left. So if you are visiting Japan, I would do the courteous thing and check out. If you are in a super rush, then maybe call them from the airport. On that note, this brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Delete Me. If you're looking to travel, one thing to be careful with is making sure that your personal information isn't being shared without your consent. The last thing you'd want is for a criminal to know your home address and that you're traveling. For most people, I'd recommend delay posting and also making sure that your address isn't visible. For example, we were in Japan last week. On Instagram, I'm still in Japan because we delay posting. Side note, follow me on Instagram at AskSebby. I'm posting some highlights from Hokkaido and Tokyo. In fact, 40% of renters post about their trips while they're traveling. 2/3 of burglaries happen when you're not at home. One of the best ways I've tackled this is Delete Me. That's why I'm excited to partner with them for this video. When I used to Google myself, I'd find hundreds of detailed profiles that shared my cell phone number, address, and email. Do a test and Google yourself. First name, last name, and street name. A lot of people are going to be surprised at what pops up. In the best case, you get robocalls and scam emails. Worst case, you put yourself at risk for identity theft and fraud. I tried to remove all of this myself, which you can't do, but it can take hours. The issue though is that some sites don't have easy ways to get yourself removed, or they just pop back up. Delete Me was super easy for this, and I've been using them for a little over a year. In April 2023, it reviewed over 2,000 listings and removed 42. In November 2023, it reviewed over 6,000 listings and removed 16. Fast forward to the most recent report, and it reviewed over 8,394 listings that matched my name. It identified which ones were actually mine and found 0 listings. This means that it works. New sites are always popping up though and re-adding data, so Delete Me will continue to monitor them in the background. On average, Delete Me finds and removes over 2,000 pieces of data for a customer in their first 2 years, and to date they've removed over 100 million pieces of data for their customers. So if you want to get your personal information removed from search results on the web, check out joindeleteme.com/AskSebby. Use code SEBBY for 20% off their US consumer plans. Moving to part 1 of the lightning round, we have airlines. Flying Blue has a miles sale for up to 50% discount until February 29th. For example, for this, it's going to be 100k miles for about $1,500. Make sure you have a use case and even availability before you do this. You don't really want to turn liquid cash into miles that are going to depreciate. It can make sense, but just be careful. I'll link it down below along with the other offers. Between February 18th and March 16th, you're going to get 30% extra miles when you transfer city points over to Virgin Atlantic. Normally it is 1-to-1, so 1,000 to 1,000. For the promo, it's 30% more, so 1,000 to 1,300. One of the best use cases for Virgin Atlantic is ANA, which we did just book, but we might also cancel.
Yes, it is available.
Woohoo.
Okay, so looking at 145,000 points, $620. That is all gone through for you. Can I just give you the ANA reference number?
Okay, just confirming it's first class.
It is first class, yeah.
Yep, for both ways. What if we got first class on the old product?
Another option is Delta. For example, Delta One Suites from the East Coast or Midwest to the UK is 47.5k to 57.5k miles per way. Retail price could easily be 3,000 to 6,000 round trip. On the note of Delta, they are doing a color rebranding. They're generally moving towards darker tones. For example, here are the new Comfort Plus and main cabin seats, which look pretty comfy but maybe a bit boring. Delta One Suites is also getting a redesign, and they're leaning into the red, which does look pretty nice. If you are flying Delta's premium products, you might be happy to know that they are launching new lounges, premium lounges in JFK, LAX, and also Boston. The one in JFK is going to open June 2024, and it's going to be pretty large at 38,000 square feet. It's going to be the largest in the whole Delta network. LAX is scheduled for Q4, and it's only about 10,000 square feet. Boston will be about 6,300 square feet, and also Q4. If you're someone that feels that lounges are a bit too overcrowded, and you're looking for something a bit more exclusive, then this is the solution. It's pretty much their version of United Polaris lounges, and in order to get into that one, it is pretty difficult. You either need to fly United Polaris, first class on Star Alliance, or business class on Star Alliance. And for all of those, it has to be international long haul, so you cannot just fly from JFK to Toronto for it to count. No clue what Delta's rules are going to be, but guessing something similar. Heading to the lightning round for hotels, we're actually going to start at T-Mobile. All T-Mobile members have access to Magenta status. They announced a ton of perks. One that's relevant for us is going to be 15% discount for Hilton, and also Hilton Silver status until March 31st, 2025. The discount is obviously nice, and Silver status is fine, but might not move the needle as much as you'd like. You get extra points, free bottled water, and also free internet. Free water never hurts. Outside of hotels, there also is a pretty interesting car rental benefit. T-Mobile customers don't have to worry about filling up the gas tank at $1 or recharging electric vehicles for Hertz. Last time we were in Vegas, the talk of the town or the crowds was Fontainebleau. It's pretty much the new hot property that's struggling. They paid a bunch of celebrities to show up for the launch, but no one actually stayed there. A lot of the celebrities either went back to the Wynn or the Four Seasons. Also, they just fired the president and a lot of the executive team. For whatever reason, they didn't want to do status matches initially, but now they're doing it. Starting now and until June 2nd, 2024, you can match. Questionable value, but you might as well if you can. For example, Caesar's Diamond matches over to Silver, and same thing with MGM Pearl and MGM Gold. Last story is going to be a hotel group that's probably leaving Hyatt for Hilton. One of the reasons why people love Hyatt is the value and the fact that they have a lot of boutique properties that are not mainstream names. This was because they partnered with SLH, Small Luxury Hotels of the World. Lots of bespoke and non-mainstream options and pretty incredible properties. If you're someone that'd rather stay at a boutique instead of an Andaz, then this was the move. All in, SLH represents about 550 properties, which is pretty sizable. All the hotels are independent though, rather than being owned by SLH. And technically, SLH has not announced a breakup from Hyatt, but given that they are announcing a new partnership with Hilton, I think it's coming. Once the new partnership fully rolls out, then you can redeem and earn points with Hilton. There probably will still be value, but it's going to be towards the top end. You're either using a ton of points, or you're using the Hilton certificates. For example, if you were going to Sapporo, Japan, there is a Chalet Ivy Josenki, which is pretty nice. Normally, this runs you about $1,100 per night. It's one of those if you know type of hotels. More options for Hilton certificates is good, less options for Hyatt points is bad, so it's kind of a toss-up. Side note, if you want to follow our adventure from the recent Japan trip, Mandy has posted a video. So it's SFO to Haneda, Japan Airlines business class, and it's well worth a watch. She's posting Park Hyatt Niseko this week, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Hokkaido has some of the best ice cream I've ever had. We'll also be sending out a recap of the Hokkaido trip in the newsletter this week. People that were subscribed had a chance to win suite upgrade certificates and also club access certificates. We are going to do a round 2, so sign up for the newsletter, especially if you are staying at a Hyatt property this month. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave an ice cream emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, what's your American Express card strategy given the new rules? Number 2, any upcoming flights that you're excited for? Number 3, same thing for hotels. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, thumbs up, share this with a friend, but otherwise, hope you liked it. See you next time.